So I use a lot of full frame cameras, but I still find myself reaching for my reliable Canon M50 on a regular basis. I'd say it's my most used and probably most abused camera. And there goes my M50. And there goes my M50. And today I'm running through my Canon M50 Super setup, so let's get to it. Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Kai and I've done a bunch of videos on the Canon M50 in the past. I've done reviews, I've compared it with other cameras, I've got a step-by-step photography guide on it, and I'll leave a link to that Canon M50 playlist somewhere here. And what I wanted to do in this video is briefly break down the kit that I use to complement the Canon M50, making it even more of a versatile tool for content creation. So first up, if you are considering getting yourself a Canon M50, why should you? Well, one of the main reasons is its size. It's compact, it's easy to mount to a gimbal, it's easy to mount on sliders, and it's super useful for portrait videos for things like Insta Reels or TikTok videos. It has a fully articulating flip out touchscreen with dual pixel autofocus. The lens selection is also pretty amazing, with a lot of third parties like Viltrox creating these awesome little lenses that are relatively affordable. You have great 1080 video with up to 60 frames per second for slow motion. And for photography, you've got options like shooting with the CR3 compressed RAW files. So yes, the body itself is still a pretty strong offering for people looking to get started in photography, vlogging, or filmmaking. This camera does have a lot packed into a tiny little body. So what complementary kit do I use to enhance this already ultimate camera to make it even more awesome? First on my list is this, the JOBY GorillaPod 3K kit. This is awesome for out and about vlogging. You can use the flexible legs to mount your camera to a pole or a tree. I also use this to station my M50 on my standing desk so that I can use it as my webcam with the Canon web app. And currently you can pick this up on Amazon for about $65. Bargain. Get it. So the lens that I regularly use with the Canon M50 is this, the 16-35mm f-stop 2.8 Canon L lens. And we'll talk a little bit more about this lens in a minute. In order to attach this lens to the Canon M50, we need to use an adapter, as the M50 is an M mount camera and this is an EF lens, so you can't actually connect them directly. I use this, the Viltrox EF to M mount Speedbooster. And this piece of kit is incredible for three reasons. Reason one is that it is an adapter and it allows me to use my EF glass like the 16-35mm L lens. Reason two is that it is a speed booster, which means it allows me an extra stop of light. So my f-stop 2.8 lens over here can now go to f-stop 2. And reason three is that it reins in the crop of my Canon M50 by a factor of 0.71. So if you didn't know, the M50 is a crop frame camera with a crop factor of 1.6. So if you compare it to a full frame camera, it essentially zooms in the focal range. So for example, a lens with a 16mm focal length, like our EF lens here, actually has an effective focal range of 16mm times 1.6, which is about 26mm. But with the Viltrox Speedbooster attached, you can multiply that 26mm by 0.71, which is about 18mm, bringing it closer to the original 16mm focal length. Don't worry if all of that makes no sense to you. Basically, it means the image is less zoomed in, and practically speaking, you can film in tight spaces and don't have to hold your camera a million miles away from your face when vlogging. So I would really recommend getting yourself this piece of kit for your Canon M50, especially if you have Canon EF lenses. And you can pick up the Viltrox Speedbooster on Amazon for about $150 brand new. Get one. And this is a great place to mention that if you haven't done so already, don't forget to add yourself to the KaiCreative Facebook and Instagram feeds, where you can stay up to date with all of our photography sessions, video productions, short films, camera reviews, and other creative happenings. So as mentioned earlier, I love using my M50 with the EF 16-35mm f-stop 2.8 Canon L lens. And as we've also mentioned, the Speedbooster allows me to go all the way to f-stop 2, and also I can have an effective focal range of around 18mm to 40mm when compared to a full frame camera. And the reasons I love this lens is, first of all, it's an L lens. So this red ring here identifies it as a luxury Canon lens. And you do actually notice the increased quality of the L series over standard Canon lenses. But also that focal range is perfect for vlogging, for cinematic video, to use on gimbals, for sweeping shots. The only downside of this lens, I think, is that it doesn't have image stabilization. But using a gimbal generally means that this isn't too much of an issue for me personally. Unfortunately, Canon doesn't manufacture these lenses anymore, but you can still pick up a fairly good condition unit on eBay for about $600 to $800, which I think is amazing value for money, especially when compared to the newer 15 to 35mm f-stop 2.8 RF lens, which costs about $2,200. Literally just stopped on the way to New Forest and put the drone up in the air to get some shots of this amazing greenery, this amazing green space. I don't know if my shots will do it any justice, but the family is certainly happy. Just ignoring me because, you know, doing the vlogging thing. But yeah, definitely an awesome place to come. Complementing my Canon L lens, I also like to use the Freewell Magnetic VND. Now, if you don't like using ND filters because of the faff of having to twist them on and off, then I would strongly recommend investigating these Freewell Magnetic VNDs. They are super easy and convenient to pop on and off. And with this model, I also have a mist base filter that helps me add a cinematic, dreamy effect to my footage. If you don't use ND filters already, or you don't use mist filters or any of that stuff, then I would highly recommend you investigate it and try it out, because it just adds so much more back into your picture. Even in like overcast, cloudy conditions like this, it can be really bright. So get yourself an ND filter, play around with it, see what kind of shots you can get. And you can pick this up from the Freewell Indiegogo campaign and expect to pay around $400. When it comes to sound, the Canon M50 has a microphone input, which is actually what made me decide to move away from the Canon G7X Mark II to the Canon M50 for vlogging. And I also really like the fact that the M50 allows you to control the sound levels, which really helps you to get good sound when you're out and about vlogging. And the microphone that I've been using for a few years now with my M50 is this, the Video Mic Pro, which sits very nicely on top of the camera and plugs in to your mic input, and you're ready to go. And you can grab this mic on Amazon for about $250 with that dead cat. I've also used the 7 Reams wireless audio solution with my Canon M50, and this little piece of kit is awesome because you can record 2 people at the same time. And if you're interested in checking it out, they're selling on Amazon for about $180. Okay, so this is the whole setup. I've got the JOBY, I've got the mic. Mic is down to -10 dB, and the ND is on there as well. It really does help to pull in a lot of those highlights. And I'm shooting at f-stop 2 because of the Viltrox Speedbooster, and on top of that, I can also shoot at 16mm, which is about 18mm with the Viltrox Speedbooster and the crop. Now, I did mention earlier that I use my Canon M50 for my Zoom calls, and I actually picked up a $10 USB power bank and a $10 dummy battery and cable, and I've used this combination with the M50 for over 4 hours on Zoom calls and have experienced no problems at all. And of course, the bag that I carry all of this in is the Think Tank Airport Essentials. It carries all of my Canon M50 essentials, and it still has a ton of space for extra lenses, batteries, a laptop, iPad, a holster for a tripod, and a handy security feature too. Think Tank Airport Essentials, which is fundamentally built to travel. It's built to be taken onto an airplane. All right. I'd used like loads of different bags in the past, and I settled on the Airport Essentials just because of how convenient it is to use and travel with. So that's my recommendation, and that is what I've got with my little setup here today. We're literally losing the race here. Everyone has overtaken us. In fact, I loved this bag so much that I actually bought it twice. So the M50 has been my go-to camera for a long while now. For me to change to another everyday camera, it would have to address a number of shortcomings of the M50. Having a better battery life would be one. Having usable 4K with dual pixel autofocus with no crop, maybe 4K at 60 frames per second, that would be amazing. A log option would be fantastic. Making it all water sealed so that I'm not worried when it rains. And that's a particular problem because I live in the UK. And while you're fixing all of those problems, Canon, why not throw in a full frame sensor as well? Could you imagine? Now, these options would probably not be offered in a camera like this for a little while, especially with much more expensive offerings on the market currently. But hopefully we will see something like this in a couple of years' time, and then maybe, just maybe, I'll put my Canon M50 away for good. But until then, it's staying put. So what setup are you using with the Canon M50? What extra pieces of kit are you utilizing to enhance the power of your Canon M50? Let me know down in the comment section below. As always, if you found today's video useful, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so already, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that little bell for notifications. So that's it from me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. All that I have left to say is stay creative, stay safe, imagine, implement, and inspire. And I will see you next time on KaiCreative. All right. Woo! Oh, and what do you guys think of this orange themed lighting? Godox very kindly sent them to me, and I'm gonna do a review on them, but I've just been using them like properly, like for the last few videos and trying loads of stuff out with them, and I haven't actually put a review video together. So I will be doing that, Godox. Stop emailing me and bugging me. I'm gonna do it, all right? Later.